Space go alongs with doing science experiments in space. And we have Dan Burbank here. We're on the International Space Station.
Get in.
To me, a frontier is a place where your normal intuition no longer applies. Problem on one of our spacewalks where we were trying to unfold a beam that supports some lights on the outside of space station. And this beam was folded up into its launch, for its launch state. And
What responsibilities and jobs are going to be yours when you're up there?
well, I'm one of the science guys, and I'm one of the repair guys. And fortunately, there's lots of science and lots of repair to do on station, so that will certainly keep us all busy. You have a whole series of O-rings in here, and
shape of this cup. And you can see I'm continuing to suck the coffee out, or actually sip the coffee, because we're no longer sucking out of a bag now. We're drinking from a cup. And
you just have a leak,
and what you would do
you
is
lose air.
People think the Earth is flat again.
The atmosphere looks incredibly flat.
astronauts are really, really good at making pictures in space that look like you've never left the planet.
Stuff in space,
when you're there.
things that I think about. One is the atmosphere looks incredibly flat.
Destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. It was so. It was so. The answers are not in the back of the book, and you're going to have to figure things out for yourself. And this makes an environment that's rich in discovery. It makes an environment where the things you learn are going to tickle your imagination and enrich your mind, and then you share them with everybody on Earth, and that is the value. Questions. You will find that the very questions you asked to begin with were not the right questions that needed to be asked in the first place. And this character is what's going to keep human beings from becoming a fossil layer eroding out from some hillside on planet Earth. And we won't become dinosaurs. Because after all, if the dinosaurs explored the space, if they colonized other planets, they would still be alive today. I got to play the didgeridoo. I'm not really that much of a musician, and I certainly don't look like one. And, you know, the kind of people that play didgeridoos, they look pretty much like musicians. And maybe I better do something so I look a little bit more like a didgeridoo player. Stand by. So I got a pair of scissors, and I made my crew shirt into a real musician didgeridoos kind of attire. And so I can play my didgeridoo now. Now, let me change out the right angle adapter for the crevice tool. And what we're going to do now is we're going to hook two hoses together. Now I'm going to be out of the camera picture because this is a long didgeridoo.
That by putting this right angle adapter on it, that essentially you're cutting the frequency in half. and making it a higher pitch, because you're essentially anchoring a node here. There'll be a node at this end, and you'll essentially have a standing wave down the length of this hose. With two hoses, and if you remove it and put the crevice tool, our thinking is that that you've now got a pitch of a tone that's about half of that, so it's a much lower tone. And then if you attach two ends of the hose or two hoses together, it's getting lower still. And so it's really interesting, and it's also very interesting to see how the size of the spheres is affected by the tone. So the spheres are tuned, and you can excite a mode in those, and it's dependent upon the tone as well. It's always an interesting exercise to look at all the things around you and try to look at them in a different way.